All right, here's our lesson on adding and subtracting polynomials. Remember, polynomials are just algebraic expressions that have multiple terms in them. So today we talked about how many terms they had. There's 3 rules for today. So the first rule is that we need to distribute first. So if we have parentheses, we want to take care of that first thing. The next rule is that we need to combine like terms. Just like today, that means you have to have the exact same variables with the exact same exponents. And then the last thing, we want to write our final answer in standard form, so we are decreasing the exponents. For example, you would have like x to the 5th, and then maybe any x to the 3rd term, and then x squared, right? You have to put them in that order, 5, 3, and then 2. So our first example, remember we need to distribute first, and I know that because I see parentheses. So I need to ask myself, what numbers are in the front of each of these to distribute? And if we don't have anything, that's just a 1. And you may notice when you multiply anything by 1, it's just going to stay the same. The same thing's going to happen on that second set, so I'm just going to re-copy down what I had. 2x to the 3rd minus 5x plus 1 plus 5 plus 6x squared minus 2x. All right, now my second step that we wrote down in our notes was we need to combine like terms. And because I want my final answer to be in standard form, I generally start with the highest exponent first. So I see I have an x to the 3rd here. I don't have any other x to the 3rds, so that piece is going to go first, 2x to the 3rd. All right, now I'm going to move on to any x squareds. I see 1x squared. I don't see anything that goes with that, so I'm just going to say plus 6x squared. Okay, now I'm going to look for x's. I've got a negative 5x and a negative 2x. When I combine those, I get negative 7x. And now any of my terms that don't have x's in them, I have a plus 1 and a plus 5, which is going to give me plus 6. And I know that I'm done because when I look at my answer, I don't have any terms that have the same variables and exponents, so nothing else can be combined. And also my exponents count down. X to the 3rd, x squared, a single x, which is really x to the 1, and then no x's at all, or x to the 0. All right, the second example looks similar from the beginning. In the very first set of parentheses, I again have a 1 that's going to distribute. In this second set, though, notice I have a minus sign. That means negative 1 is my number distributing. So 1, when you distribute that, those things stay the same because multiplying by 1 doesn't change anything. But when you distribute negative 1, it's going to change the sign. I have negative 4ab now, and then negative times negative becomes positive ab squared. You need to pay careful attention to these two signs right here. Make sure you understand how I got those. And then this at the end, this 6ab squared doesn't have any, a squared b, doesn't have anything to distribute, so I just copy it down, 6a squared b. And now you can kind of combine in any order you want to. I'm going to look for, since these have 2 variables, there's not really a way to do standard form, so I'm just going to combine as I see things that go together. So I have a 3ab squared and another ab squared, as we talked about in class today. This is plus 1 ab squared, so all together that's going to give me 4ab squared. I see another term out here that has a squared, and it doesn't have anything that can go with it. So I'm just going to copy it down, 6a squared b. I see another term that's got some variables. That's this negative 4ab in the middle, so minus 4ab. And then at the end, let's see, I've got this plus 2. It can't go with anything. So when I look to see if this is just to double check that I think this is my final answer, I'm going to look through and see, do any of my terms have the same variables with the same exponents? And the answer is no. And then that's really all you have to check here. So make sure that, and I guess you could make sure that you've used all of your pieces up here. We did this today, kind of checked them off. That's probably a smart idea. All right, our last example here is asking us to find the perimeter. This is a common problem that you're going to see in algebra. So you need to write down, even though this is a geometry standard, we're going to see it in algebra. Perimeter is when you add all the sides of something. So here, I want to find the perimeter, so I'm just going to be adding all of these things. So I'm just going to write it out as one big addition problem. 2x minus 1 plus 3x squared plus 4x squared minus 5. All right, notice I'm adding those three sides together. And then I want to look and just combine like terms. There's no distributive property to be done here, so I'm just combining anything that goes together. And again, we're going to do standard form. So I've got, looking at my x squareds first, that's 7x squared. All right, looking at my solitary x's, or just x to the 1, I've just got one piece of that, that's 2x. And then looking at my numbers, -1 and -5, if I add those together, that gives me -6. And I'll double check my answer here at the end and just make sure that I don't have anything left that can go together. And I don't, so I know that I'm done.